All right, we are live. So welcome back to Dapp University. So today we got a lot to talk about in our live stream. We're going to talk about something that could be a big catalyst for Web 3.0 adoption coming up. All right, we're going to look at a lot of other news updates that have happened in the space since yesterday. Again, we do these live streams Monday through Friday. Just turn on notifications, subscribe. You're going to find out about those whenever you go live. We're going to answer some of your questions in the chat, talk about a lot of cool stuff that's happening in Web 3.0. We're going to check the trends on chain right now, check on the crypto markets, and a lot more. So if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to learn how to master blockchain step-by-step start to finish, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. So we got people jumping in the chat here. We got Culture Highs technically above Realty. Sarthak, hope I'm saying that right. Aline, Dale, Nawal, hope I'm saying that right. Gavin, welcome. All right, so let's jump into this. Let's talk about something that could be a pretty big catalyst for Web 3.0 adoption, okay? So we've been talking a while on this channel about the whole saga with, Elon Musk, buying Twitter, all right? What's going to happen there? Could this be a Web 3.0 play in some respect? Okay, we've talked about, Elon wants to make the Twitter algorithm open source. That's a very Web 3.0 value. Are there other ways in which they could, use blockchain technology to, basically improve Twitter and make it a social network that has more of these Web 3.0 values? Now, during this entire time, I've always said that, hey, I don't think we're just going to start, taking tweets and putting them on a blockchain. There's just no scalability for that, right? It's probably just not going to happen. But there are ways we could incorporate things like digital identity into Twitter with blockchain technology, with Ethereum wallets, stuff like that. And so now I want to talk about something that came across yesterday that popped up. It's a possible implementation for how we could actually implement some sort of decentralized social media that, has a real value proposition to the end user, okay? So this is somewhat in line of kind of what I've been saying on my channel for a while now, but let's kind of dig into the details here. So, and this could be big, right? If we get a social network that really starts using, a major social network that really starts using Web 3.0 in some way, right? Whether it's just opening up the algorithm so it's open source, or whether it's using encryption that's powered by blockchain, or digital identity in some way that's powered by blockchain. If we get any of those properties in Twitter with the new direction, then that's a huge win for this entire movement, okay? And, could be a big catalyst for Web 3.0 adoption as people start to see the value proposition of that for something besides just cryptocurrencies or NFTs that they don't really understand necessarily, or what are quick to call scams. But if they can see it actually used inside of an application and see the technological benefit there, and that's huge. So let's look at what a possible implementation of this could look like. All right. So of course, we've got some, we've got some background on what's been going on with, Elon Musk buying Twitter. We talked about a lot on my channel. If, unless you've been completely checked out from the news, that's what's happening. Elon wants to buy Twitter, make it a private company, so he has full ownership of it. Okay, so basically, let's talk about some obstacles for decentralized applications right now. We talk about unlawful content. Okay, basically intellectual property. Okay. Data protection and disclosure. Okay. And so let's look at this. So based on those things, what are some rough conclusions on the design of a future social network? So basically all the issues that we just talked about have something in common. Social media requires a degree of censorship and deletion. I've talked about this a lot on my channel. Not immutable, globally shared pools of information, okay? Decentralized tech like Bitcoin is designed in a way that to render deletion impossible or prohibitively expensive. A decentralized Twitter will not therefore look anything like a Bitcoin, okay? So again, not all decentralized technologies created equally. You may not want to create a social network the same way you want to create an immutable money. So the need for content removal moderation whether due to criminal liability, civil liability, or simple usability, will be the single most important factor in the design of any decentralized social media system. So at a minimum, the centrality of content moderation to the social media user experience means that simply dumping everything on the blockchain, as BitCloud does, and then replacing it across every single node of the network, is basically not going to work. Okay, you're putting everything to IPFS. It's not going to work for all the reasons we talked about a second ago. And that's kind of what I've been saying throughout this possible implementation. So his hunch is that a first truly successful decentralized social media system will not try to be an all-signing, all-dancing world computer, but rather will have its users replicate the absolute bare minimum viable information required for the network to function. So the blockchain piece, if any, should be relegated to providing a register of usernames and associated public keys and very little else. So that's kind of what I've been saying, right? If you've been following these live streams, if you haven't, I'll reiterate that point. One way that I've said that, we could transition Twitter to more Web 3.0 style social network is the very minimum part is you could manage decentralized identity on chain, where there's some sort of upfront cost associated with registering that identity, whether it's stored on chain or whether we just simply keep a record of, some sort of signature from a unique wallet. Okay. And then everything else can have, a different component to it. Okay. And so we kind of see this fight happening on Twitter here, talking about all tweets going on chain. I've been saying for months now, that's just not going to happen. So basically, this will likely limit the kind of data users host to plain text for the most part. This low liability proposition for the perspective of criminal copyright and data protection law. It's much higher. It's much lighter on bandwidth. Will be easier to transmit peer-to-peer. Okay, so video and imaging, hosting, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what it could look like. All right. So it doesn't look like, and that's a common misunderstanding that I think when people get new in the space, they think that everything is supposed to go sort of on the blockchain. That's really not how it works. Like you even see this with NFTs. So NFTs basically store the NFT smart contract on the blockchain that keeps track of like who owns NFTs, how much, it facilitates transfers. But then the picture for the NFT goes somewhere else. Most often it goes on IPFS. That's sort of the decentralized way to do that. All right. And so similarly with like social media, you could have some parts that use the blockchain for the important stuff, but then, you have other parts that don't need to go on the blockchain itself or simply can't. Okay. And so that's what, that's how I see Web 2 transitioning into Web 3.0. And I want to make this point very clear, which is basically like, a lot of people have this naive idea that Web 3.0 is going to tear down Web 2.0 to where we're not using anything from Web 2.0 anymore, that like moving to Web 3.0 is just going to replace everything. And that's not really true. It's that we're going to expand into Web 3.0. That's where I see things headed. At least that's how that's working now. Because there's some parts of Web 2.0 that are good, right, that you want to hold on to, you want to keep around because you want to use the right tool for the job, but then you can expand into Web 3.0 to help get some of those values of trustlessness, decentralization, transparency. All those things are going to be sliding scales because there's really no good implementation to get everything. It's about trade-offs and trying to find the best trade-off that you can get and sort of making making some incremental moves there to pioneer a new generation of applications that do something that others couldn't before them or have some sort of, quality that others couldn't before them. Okay, so somebody says, I think it'll be an evolution of basic digital signature certificate. I can see that. Yeah, totally. So, let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. Is Twitter going to move towards anything Web 3.0 related? Is this going to be a big upset and then Elon's just going to buy it and then not do anything he's going to say he's going to do? I don't think so. Like, I think that Elon is likely going to do the things that he says he's going to do. We just don't know what they're going to look like yet. I'm not making any promises that Twitter's going to become a Web 3.0 social network. Although, if we do have an open source algorithm, that is a Web 3.0 value, even if that's not using a blockchain directly. Somebody says many profile names are changed to .eth now. Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally. Especially, do I think this will drive up Doge? That's a good question. Of course, there's a lot of people who are, holding on to hope that, Elon Musk is going to incorporate Doge into Twitter in some way, whether it's through payments, and that could have a price impact on Doge. Now, the funny thing is, there's all this speculation about that, and the price of Doge hasn't moved nearly as much as it did when Elon Musk just tweeted about it. I think part of that's a function of what's going on with the crypto markets right now and overall crypto sentiment. I mean, when things get really frothy out there, you know what I mean? And then Elon Musk just like starts talking about Doge out of nowhere. That can really move the needle, just like the Bitcoin price did as soon as, Tesla bought $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin for its balance sheet. That was a very different time in the market when we saw all this stimulus just flowing in and there was a raging bull market, right? That's not exactly where we are now. And so those types of catalysts don't have quite the same effect. So this is a 3/4 ENS digital run major radar. So I've definitely seen people talking about what's going on in the ENS space, especially with the like short number ENS usernames. Um, Unless there's something else that you were specifically mentioning. So somebody that learned the basic Solidity and Shuffle. What should you learn next to become a smart contract developer? Definitely build your own project. All right, so let's go ahead and check on a few other things here. Let's check on the crypto markets here. Okay, so let's just take a quick look here. Of course, Bitcoin, we are back below $39,000. Okay, we're kind of in this precarious position to see what happens here. I'm seeing a lot of people who are watching out for a big dump in the Bitcoin price so that we can have some sort of final capitulation before Bitcoin starts trending higher. I don't claim to know what's going to happen in the short term. Okay. That being said, like if you see what's happened with tech stocks over the past, several months, I mean, we have tech stocks that have erased gains from the past 2 years. Okay. Like, I mean, if you look to see what's happened, I mean, if you kind of like use if you use like the NASDAQ 100 as a proxy for some of this stuff, right? We've definitely erased a year's worth of gains. Plus, if you look at individual things, all right. See here. I mean, if you look at stuff like, we got a lot of assets that are really not doing well at all, like by any stretch of the imagination, especially stuff that we consider like growth and risk based, which is kind of the category that we would put crypto in the eyes of most people. Okay, like crypto's done okay, especially for like major stuff like Bitcoin. and Ether, for example. Okay, if you look at, let's see here. If you look at, price of Bitcoin over the past year, okay, we're still above. I mean, we're negative year to date. Not year to date. We are negative year to date, but we're negative on the past year. But we're still above this low, okay, that we printed last July. Now, a lot of people think that we're about to go back down and kiss that low. We'll see. All right, I'm seeing people who are calling for a 30K bottom on Bitcoin to revisit that. I don't know. It's really hard to tell. There's sort of the thought that Bitcoin has a way of not doing what everybody thinks it's gonna do. Okay, maybe everybody's bearish at the bottom, and we could sit here and say, hey, look how well Bitcoin's held up against some of the tech stocks, et cetera, and that could be that line of thinking where it's like, oh, looks like it's doing great, and then it sort of fakes you out. So it's really hard to tell in the short term. In the long term, of course, my whole view on this market's not changed. I'm doing a whole lot of nothing, which is just sitting and waiting. All right. I do think that the crypto trend is still long-term bullish thing with all the adoption that we're seeing, especially if we see any type of hint of Web 3.0 movement with Twitter or anything, right? We're seeing so much adoption happen all the time, so many funds being raised in this space to build the next generation of blockchain applications. The demand for blockchain developers is absolutely insane. All right, we're seeing lots more people, jump into this space that want to hire that technical talent. Those are all really good signs despite what's happening with the cryptocurrency prices. And I was here during the 2018, 2019 brutal, absolutely brutal bear market, okay, where the price of Ether went from $1,400 down to $80. I watched that entire thing. That was not a fun ride. This is not a really fun ride, but it's nothing compared to that. So, of course, there's a lot of people who will say, like, well, just wait, bro. Like, we're going back there. I don't think so. We could have a final leg below this. Very, very realistically could. But I still don't think we have what's in store for what we did a couple years ago. Now, that being said, if there's some sort of catastrophe with the global economy beyond what we've seen already, then that could invalidate that, right? Like, there's always risk. I think a lot of what we've seen over the past several months in crypto has been kind of an upset that's been largely caused by the economic policy. Now, you could say, like, the only reason the crypto prices went up in the first place is because of the monetary policy. I don't think it's the only reason. I think that poured gasoline on the fire, okay? I think that's the direction that crypto was headed. I think crypto was relatively undervalued before we kicked off the last run, okay? And then, basically when we saw this happen, I think it was a combination of, monetary policy, also just some FOMO. We were ahead of schedule at that point. Of course, saw a correction, saw a second wave, and then now, I would say, I think long term we're bullish. Short term, really hard to tell. Speaking of which, we've got some. Let's see here. We've got a top performer in the space, okay? So Apecoin has done pretty well despite everything else. It's been a pretty big outlier. Yeah, I've been talking about Apecoin since it came out. I actually found Apecoin when it started trending inside of BlockSite. We'll actually look at that here in a minute. So I've literally found Apecoin as soon as it dropped, and look what it's done since then. All right, so I basically found it here, and then watched it do this, and just made this ride all the way up. So, that's some good news. And so I've been talking about Apecoin since it came out, basically. Of course, not financial advice. I'm not telling you to buy any of this stuff, right? I'm mostly just talking about some cool things that have happened despite the other tokens being down. Part of this is community and network effect, okay? So when you have a project that has such a strong community as Bored Apes do, I mean, a lot of people like to fade the Bored Ape trend and all that type of stuff, but I don't bet against the apes, put it that way. It's a pretty strong community. Of course, a lot of people don't get NFTs. They want to condemn something they don't understand, think it's stupid, blah, 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 blah. Well, I would just say observe what's happening and try to understand how it works, pursue it with curiosity rather than condemnation. And then like that, you might actually see the opportunity there. And I think one of the reasons we see this is that network effect. It's the utility of the NFTs, that community behind it, that gives it that really strong holder base. Now, could see a pretty sharp price correction in Ape here pretty soon. Maybe this is just a pump, but you know, I've definitely been keeping my eye on Ape since it launched when I found out about it that way. So that being said, this is how I found Apecoin. Was basically tracking the trending projects on chain with BlockSci. You can find a link down in the description below. We can see what's happening here for the past day. Let's see here. We've got a couple of projects that have popped up that I was kind of keeping my eye on. I guess not financial advice. I'm just showing you what I do. Like I check this every single day, multiple times per day. It's like a routine. Basically, I just find what's trending on chain. Basically, this is new projects where you are able to see financial inflows that go into them, and then you can use it as a research point. Because there's too much stuff to keep track of. You could spend all your day on Discord groups. You could spend all your day watching Twitter. You know, that's so much time that's required. Okay. And honestly, a lot of times when stuff hits social media, it's kind of late. I know I'm like talking about it now on social media, but the whole point is like you can get access to the information to get it in real time. Okay. You can even get alerts about this type of stuff, so you don't have to sit there and watch it all day either. So let's take a look at some of those. So we definitely have seen the NFT project that we were talking about before. So this is Fragments by James John. It's an NFT project that has, just see here. Yeah, we've been keeping an eye on this one. This one's seen a lot of activity. We've seen, let's see here. We've seen $6 million in the past 7 days. And then, let's see here. We see another sushi swap pool. So we're piggybacking off the Apecoin trend here with the primate. Okay, so just like everything else in crypto, as soon as something starts working, we start seeing derivatives come out. So I don't know anything about primate. Literally just showing you like how I'm looking at it in real time. This is a research tool. But that's what it looks like here. It's not financial advice. I'm not telling you to, jump into anything. I'm not doing any due diligence necessarily to find out if it's a scam project or not. I'm not calling it a scam either. I'm just telling you. I'm just looking at the raw information and doing the detective work and showing you how I do this. So, yeah, it looks like, because we've seen this all the time. Like as soon as, Dogecoin starts pumping, we start seeing dog coins go crazy. We start seeing stuff like Shiba Inu come out, right? We see other forks. Whenever we saw, the food token craze happen, you start seeing like all these food things come up. So we might start seeing some more primate and monkey coins, come out here. But the other side will be #1 trending tomorrow. Yeah. So we'll definitely keep that. Well, I'm going to keep watching that with the other side project for sure. So we'll likely see that come up. So I won't be doing live streams this weekend. So if you want to check on what's trending over the weekend, you can definitely check out the link down in the description below to get access to that. You can also do things like get alerts for project in real time. You can follow wallets, follow big wallets, see what they're buying. Anytime they mint an NFT, you can get an alert about that. Anytime they trade a token, you can get an alert about that. Do any kind of transaction. You want to find other wallets to watch. Okay, all that type of stuff. It gives you a huge edge to find out about the stuff before other people do. It's a massive research tool. How do you handle taxes if crypto is not filed with the SEC? So basically, I can't give official tax advice, but I mean, I would just talk to your accountant. Like basically, I think, off the record, like probably, I mean, yeah, I really don't want to give fixed slash advice. Basically, you just have to report the income as a capital gain. But again, talk to your accountant. So what is the app scanning? The app is actually scanning the real world blockchain data and then generating the insights based on that. So it actually does data analysis on the actual blockchain itself. This is Ape because they're running in the summer. Yeah, could see that. Okay, so one other thing I want to talk about is this. This is a little bit more of an advanced topic, but kind of finance topic. But I think it's another cool thing that's happening in the crypto space that could be good for adoption. So Goldman offers first Bitcoin-backed loan in crypto push. So this is actually pretty cool. And you may not understand why this is significant, but I'll explain it. So, Goldman Sachs, major player, all right, in traditional finance, okay? That's one of the reasons it's important. First Bitcoin-backed loan in crypto push. So one financial product that's really popular for wealthy people, and most people haven't done this, but it's really important for wealthy people in many cases, right? Is basically like margin loans. So let's say you've got a big stock portfolio, or you own a bunch of stocks, whatever it is, and you can basically go to a bank and basically take loans out against your stocks, okay, at like a really low interest rate. Now it can fluctuate, but let's just say it's a low interest rate, okay. And basically what you can do is, and you can go use that money to do whatever you want to, and the advantage there, how most people use it is that it's a loan, right? It's not income, it's tax free. And so you can go use that money to make more money. If you have a really big stock portfolio that you expect to grow for a long time, you can like just keep taking out margin loans, okay, and then like paying off the interest that way. And then you're never selling this stock, it's just continuing to grow, and then you're just continuing to take loans out and then just paying down the interest on your loan, and you're never paying back the principal. So like you're never paying you're never paying taxes. People talk about how the billionaires never pay taxes. That's kind of one trick, okay. You can do it with all kinds of stuff. You can do it with your own startup equity. People talking about Elon Musk, taking out a margin loan from his Tesla shares to buy Twitter. There's all kinds of stuff you can do with it. You can use it for your own personal income. You can use it to buy other assets you expect to appreciate in value, and then flip those assets and then pay back your interest. You could buy real estate. If that real estate appreciates in value, you can 1031 exchange into other real estate. This is like, it's like kind of the infinite money loop. And anyways, people who have a lot of money, who made that money in a smart way and are looking for ways to like avoid taxes and continue to build, that wealth, there's demand for this, okay? And so think about that. You can do the same thing with crypto. So basically, you could take all your Bitcoin and then they can offer you a loan against it. But we've already seen this like BlockFi and others. But the fact that you could do it with a big player like Goldman is going to be significant because, you're already going to have super high net worth individuals, family offices, and stuff like that, that realize the ability to do this. And, if you are holding a lot of Bitcoin and you're ultra wealthy, then you're going to want to probably do it somebody like Goldman. You're probably not going to sign up for a BlockFi account. No offense, right? So that's significant. Okay. Or also institutions, right? There's institutions who want to do the same thing, but not just individuals. This could be a significant thing for them. Okay. So again, there's lots of ways you can do this. This is kind of confuses people. Like, why would you want to just take a loan out on something? The other reason is like, you don't have to get approval for. I mean, you have to get approved for a margin account, but like when it comes time to like get the money, like once you've got it set up, you gotta sit there and like go through all these like hoops, right? So you want to take out a loan to buy a car. That's not that hard. I mean, you can go to a dealer, say I want to buy the car, they'll write you a loan right there, same day. As long as they can just, quickly, like it's like buying a car is nowhere near as hard as like buying a house. Like when you buy a house, you want to get a loan, you got to go through all these steps, right? But like margin account, once you got it set up, it's just like, just give me money, I'll pay it back. Same thing if you have like a home equity line of credit or something like that. It basically taking all those financial products and moving them over to crypto. The more people can do it that way, especially for high net worth, ultra high net worth individuals, the better. Basically, it just increases the utility value of cryptocurrency. More reason for more people to hold it, especially when you give, ultra wealthy people more reason to hold it. Then, they can buy crypto in a way that, people like you or me can't, like a lot more money. Okay. And also institutions, right? It's not just about individuals, but institutional adoption of cryptocurrency is huge because they can move the needle a lot faster than, somebody who just gets on their computer and gets on Google and says, how do I buy Bitcoin? Because even if that person is, doing well financially, like let's say you could buy $1 million worth of Bitcoin, that's awesome, but it's not the same thing as $1.5 billion. Like, don't forget, $1 billion is $1,000 million. Okay, it would take 1,000 people buying $1 million of Bitcoin to have the same effect as one person buying $1 billion. All right, everybody, that's all I got for today. As always, smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. I'll leave these videos out so more people can learn about blockchain. And if you're as fascinated with technology as I am, you want to get your hands dirty, how can you get started today? You can go to my YouTube homepage. You can find my free courses there. They're like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. And if you like those and you want to take the next step, or hey, maybe you want to take a master shortcut entirely, I actually become a blockchain master step-by-step start to finish over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. You don't have to be an expert to get started today. I've helped people with zero coding experience become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So that's all I've got. And until next time,